Big Blue Thumb Productions presents the Podlie Podcast. Here's your hosts, Podlie Bill, Podlie Cliff, and Podlie Paul.
And
hello, everybody.
Etc.
Episode 165
Holy
of the Podlie Podcast.
Jumpin' Josephine.
That's a lot of episodes.
165 episodes. As Paulie,
65 hours.
as Paulie so eloquently mentioned last time about wasting 165 hours.
How do you waste 165 hours? We talk like morons. That's what we do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
Remember
it.
to say hello here to Jamie. Jamie Hill's in first. Big 3,500 points.
Jamie
today.
Hill, where have you been, young lady?
Love.
But nonetheless, 3,500 points, you're right.
Look at who's in second.
Who's JTN?
JTN Creations.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know either, but I'm saying that JTN.
Hey,
say hi to people from Moose.
From Moose Jaw.
2,500 points. Now,
Dude, 2,500 points, you gotta elucidate. So is that a word?
JTN Creations.
So JTN, I need you to spend some of your 2,500 points to let us know who you are.
Yeah,
actually.
And by the way, if you're not JTN, if you don't know what the points are, the points really mean nothing. It's kind of like a Seinfeld show.
But you still want
But
them.
you still want them. You still.
You still want
We have a
them.
competition every show to see who's going to get Gary Roberts.
Oh, well, Mr. Roberts, nice to have you aboard.
Nice to have somebody with the same last name on the show.
There you go. This is Bill Roberts,
Yes.
Jerry Roberts.
Yes.
And Susan, his sister, has been on in the past. And,
Yep.
if she had absolute commitment or dedication, she would be
She'd be
again.
here with you there, Jerry. She'd be with you.
Here's the funny thing. I used to have an uncle by the name of Jerry Roberts. My dad's brother was Jerry,
Jerry Roberts. Nice.
who's no longer with us. But so his name was Jerry
we go.
Roberts as well. So
Nice. And Laura, by the way, evening Laura.
1,500 for Laura.
1,500 smackers.
Yeah, otherwise,
Points, that is.
If we don't tell her or we don't say that she got points, she's going to mention it later
Right.
on that we didn't give her the points.
Right, and Laura says she's horrible at keeping tracks of points, though. Dude, you were supposed to go back and form a spreadsheet and everything else and be able to then calculate and tell us
Yeah.
who had what points.
Who had what points?
Unbelievable.
We brought friends.
We did. So we have something that we've always been kind of thinking about for the show, and it's finally happened. We actually have our first sponsor of the Podlie Podcast. So Manual Labor Beer Company here in Sherwood Park, which is a local brewery, is sponsoring our podcast. They're going to help us see if they can help us grow and get more
That's right.
subscribers, etc. So I'm wearing the Manual Labor hat. We have the Manual Labor logo up on our screen.
I will be wearing the manual labor
We have-
hangover in about an hour.
We have 4 different types of Manual Labor beer. They have many other beers that they sell as well. So we have here tonight Take a Lap Lager.
Take a lap lager.
Yes.
All right.
We have,
Can I just interrupt you and say something?
yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to know
I
this.
love you. You're amazing.
Mr. Bill over here, as usual, I mean, the man is a man of many talents and many skills and many connections and so on and so forth. And so he went out there all by his lonesome because if you didn't know, we served this stuff at the Ravenwood Festival. If you don't know what that is, well, you can just have to find it online. Nonetheless, Mr. Bill, the man of many talents and many connections, etc., went out there and basically said, listen, you guys, we need a sponsor. We need some beer. You need some advertising.
Not necessarily in that
Not
order.
necessarily in that order. And the wonderful people at Manual Labor, don't you just love the
Manual
name?
Labor. Yeah.
Don't you just love
The
the
names are
name?
great, by the way. The names are great. Look at this.
No, but even the name of the company, Paulie, like Manual Labor
Manual
Beer
Labor. I
Brewing
know it's
Company.
great. I know it's great.
fantastic, right?
Yeah. My wife's red ale. So guys, yeah, Take a Lap Lager.
Take a lap
Rocket
lager.
surgery kind of
Hey, that's
creeps
awesome.
me out a little bit.
Rocket surgery is pretty good.
Take your time with my surgeries, please, guys.
So check them out. They are out and
And I don't know if you can see this, the Manual Labor logo. Check it out. Right at the very bottom in blue there. I mean, I love the name
Yeah.
Manual Labor for a company that brews beer. I think that's pretty fantastic.
Yep.
So they are located, by the way, if you want to come and see them, they are in Sherwood Park. So they are 510 280 Portage Close.
Right, and what it is the place you can actually go and taste all of these beers.
Yep.
You can go sit down and nice little glasses like this you can order and sit and chit chat. And actually, it's cool because they have the mezzanine. And if you go up to the mezzanine, first of all, there's free pinball machines. You can't
Play
beat
free
that.
pinball. How can you beat
You
that?
cannot beat that. And the 3 pinball machines that they have there are freaking awesome. I played about an hour last time I was there. And if you look over the mezzanine balcony, well, guess what? You can see one of my favorite parts, the brewery, all the tanks, and you can ogle where the beer is being created or being brewed, whatever
Yeah,
you want
for
to call it.
sure.
I don't know nothing about beer.
And by the way, you can have a full mug of beer as well.
Oh, yeah, you're not limited to the little ones.
Not just the little tasters. You can get yourself a big mug. So, Jerry, thank you so much for mentioning us on your show.
Hey, thanks,
Awesome.
Jerry. Awesome, dude.
Yeah, appreciate that. They're open Wednesday through Sunday, 4 till 9 on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday 12 till 9 and 12 to 5. And just quickly, I'll mention before we get into our show, they are having an event coming up here. I was talking to Paul about this off air. It's called Merry Stepmas. So basically, what
Merry
it is
Stepmas.
get your ugliest Christmas gear ready and join us for a festive step aerobics class at the tap room. So this is not your mama's step class. It's low impact and high energy, and it could really just feel like a dance party. So your ticket includes a 1 hour step class, treats, and a flight of beer. So hang around, offer for some delicious treats they're going to have, jacked up sweets, Christmas movies. It takes place December 16th, which is Saturday, December 16th.
It's what?
Saturday! There, that's for you, Nicole. And on Sunday, December 17th. You still here, Paul?
I'm waiting to drink the damn beer is what I'm waiting to do.
If you go to their website, which is manual-labor.ca, you can get tickets to that event. You can also learn all about them. They have a full list. This is not just the only beer they have. They just released a winter ale, which actually might be one of these. It's not called the winter ale, though. We'd have to check. But anyway, they have a huge list of beer and cider that they make there, and it is awesome.
And I mean, I tell you what, this is called an archetypical Irish red ale. Anybody who can spell archetypical after drinking one of these has my vote, as I don't know, Prime Minister of Canada or something.
So
which one?
So I'm gonna actually break into one of these and taste it.
Okay, deal. Rocket.
I thought you'd never ask.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
I like my wife's red ale.
Okay.
I think because you know my wife. I mean, she's a little bit of a lush.
Well, she'd drink that as a shot. Then.
I know, right?
I don't think Leslie's on at this point.
She won't be on tonight, as far as I know.
Where's her dedication clip?
That's what I said. No dedication, nothing, man. I mean, I'm right here.
Any device you can watch our show on. You know, which I'm sure is the same probably for yours, Jerry. Any device you can watch the show on. So, what are you having? You want rocket
Beer.
surgery?
Okay, so can I have this one?
Rocket surgery, which, as far as I'm
you can
concerned,
have
is a
Okay, my
contradiction
wife's
in
red
terms.
ale. All right, on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Booyah!
There we go.
Okay, so the first cheers. I know this is Manual Labor beer. I know this is the Podlie podcast, but the first cheer goes to all of the people that are joining us on the podcast. We really appreciate you being here. So cheers to you, and here's
Cheers
to your
to
health.
you as well.
Oh my!
Oh, that's good.
Oh my!
Lager. Wow.
Well, this might be my wife's red ale, but she might not see any
Not
of it.
hers anymore. It's now Cliff's red ale. And how's the rocket surgery going over here?
I don't know. Give me a sec.
Yeah. So this right here is my wife's husband's new red ale.
Not quite sure yet. Give me a sec.
What I'm curious about, and I'll have to talk to Manual Labor about this, is why it looks like it's a referee on my label.
Hang on just 1 second. I'm almost done.
You can see that, but there's like a referee kind of guy on my
Nice.
laps. I don't know what that. Now, am I supposed to take a lap after I drink this? Am I going to run around in here? Is that what it's going to make me do?
I'm glad I picked this one.
I love IPAs. IPAs are amazing. First of all, IPAs are my favorite type.
Hippos are always
Of brew. IPAs are great.
Jerry says, you three remind me of the movie Slapshot. The three hockey players kicking the crap out of the poker team because it stole their quarter. I forgot about that scene in that movie. Yes, we are kind of like that. So, Jerry, if this is your first time actually physically watching this show, we talk about a lot of funny things. We have
Give us
very
10
serious
minutes, Jerry. It might be your last.
Yeah.
You're joining us in the 165th hour. So, if you want to binge, you got 164 hours
That's
before
right.
this.
And where's Susan? Tell her she should be on here.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. But anyway, Jerry, sometimes we say it's a show about nothing, but we do have serious topics. We do have funny topics and everything in between. And I did pick a topic for tonight. So this is a topic for those of you that have been watching us for quite a while.
Your first topic's pretty good. It's beer.
It is beer. I'm going to bring this up. So I can't remember. It was a couple months ago, maybe
Yeah.
3 months. We did this. So we had a show about AI, and we were talking about how AI is affecting the world. Say, for my wife is a grief counselor, so we were
Right.
talking about things like if you're going to counseling and you had an AI person there rather than a regular counselor, how would that all work, etc.
Well, what? Just
Go ahead.
just to interject for 1 second. We were talking about how AI is taking over every job,
Correct.
etc. And
Right.
Bill's wife, Chai, God bless her, she said that her job is safe because she's a grief counselor and she's one of the best in the industry. And I sort of maybe disagreed, and I wanted to have a discussion about it. And then she was kind enough to come on the show, and we had a really great, nice,
Yeah, it was a good
spirited,
combo.
good spirited discussion about it.
Yep.
And that's what Bill is talking about. If you haven't seen it, go back and maybe have a look at it after
I
this
think it was
if you're
like
so
episode.
interested.
I can't remember if it was episode like 151 or somewhere 149.
Yeah.
somewhere
Ask
there.
Laura, she'll know.
Yeah, Laura
Yeah.
will know. And anyway, that discussion spawned this one. And actually, that previous one was our most viewed episode after the fact, because people were going back on YouTube and watching again. It was the most views we had.
Oh, nice, cool.
So, so on this one, this came to fruition because, for those of you, and you would know this, so Kiss just did their final tour. I think it was December 2nd, or was their final show at Madison Square Gardens in New York. That's the last tour that they are ever doing. But here's the funny thing that caught everybody by surprise. So they completed their show, they did the encore, etc. They left the stage. Then all of a sudden, up on the screen, it came up and said, "This is not the end." So then people in the crowd are going, "What do you mean it's
What
not
do you mean
the
it's
end?
not the end?
Like, you said this is your absolute final tour." So what happened is it came up, and then all of a sudden this video came up of AI digital Kiss the band.
Oh, no, up the band.
Avatars, and it's,
Oh, wow.
so James Cameron, who everybody knows, who did Titanic, etc., for months and months ahead of this, they had been working in the studio building the avatars and the AI characters of Kiss.
Wow, wow,
So Kiss
wow.
was in filming and doing all of this
Yeah,
stuff. So nobody really knows yet exactly what they're doing with this. If they're going to do a tour as the AI band, and that's how they're going to keep Kiss alive, nobody really knows.
And it's going to be holographic? You don't know, right?
So that's what they're working on.
Yeah,
But they showed
holograms
this
on
big
the stage.
video at
Yeah.
the end of this concert, and everybody's going, "What? Wow,
That's crazy."
And there they were.
Have you seen it, Cliff?
No, I
You haven't
haven't.
seen it yet?
No.
Yeah.
Here's what I find very funny about this. So I watched very briefly, and I did see the avatars. The avatars look exactly like the
Yes.
four. They look
Oh,
like
yeah,
Eric.
yeah.
It looks like
And they
Paul.
behave
It
that,
looks like
and they have the expressions. Like,
Yeah.
how-
I don't know about
Well,
y'all,
because they're
but if
fully
you're gonna
recorded,
do
right? And they
me
go
an
for it.
avatar, do me an avatar 20 years younger. Honest to God, you guys, look at these avatars. They
But-
look.
but with
it
your
looks
current-
like 75-year-old Gene. I
but
found that
with
very
your
funny.
current savviness, though, right?
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's. I just found that funny.
So what made me think about doing this again was then not long after that, and by the way, Jerry said he watched the episode. It's episode 149, by the way. Laura pulled that out just like
Look
that.
at that. Laura is our resident secretary. Laura, you should take that title seriously.
So Jerry watched it and said it was a cool episode. That's great.
Oh, hey,
That
that's
you
great,
liked it.
Jerry.
So what made me, and then not long after that, I saw another program I caught a portion of on AI, and they were talking about how this particular, and I won't give the name of the news network, but there's a particular host on this news network who does his own show, etc. Somebody took an AI and rebuilt him and his whole set.
And his whole set.
And
Oh,
replayed
wow.
it back, and you would swear you were
we
actually
said-
watching his show, but it wasn't. It was completely AI.
That's crazy.
And so, first of all, affecting news. The actors just got back from being on strike, so
Yep.
they're back.
Yep.
One of the biggest things that they stayed on strike for is concern that AI
AI
was
was
going
gonna
to be taking
take
over their
over.
jobs,
Yep.
because you can easily create an actor and character without
Yep.
having to have them on set.
Well, they did that with Carrie Fisher in Star Wars.
Yeah, they did that in
It's-
Star Wars. They did it with Luke Skywalker.
Skywalker, Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
Mark Hamill.
so that, and then of course we just talked music.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Are we going to start going to concerts where the band's not there anymore?
I'm not.
they're rolling-
Maybe other people
I
are.
wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not. Are you go? Would you go?
No.
Would you? I
No.
wouldn't go. I wouldn't go.
Not a chance.
And
I wouldn't go.
it's not the same. Like I'm thinking, are the Rolling Stones going to do this? They're going on tour in 2024. Mick's 80 years old, for crying out loud.
Listen, if I'm going to see some, if I got to pay money to go see some wrinkled old dude singing,
Yes.
it's got to be the wrinkled old dude.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. First of all, if I may digress a little bit, Laura, you are now officially our podceptionist is what you are. You are our
Archivist.
That's right. You are our
Archivist, there we go.
Our podkivist is what you are, Laura. That's what you are. All right. That's your title. Put it on a business card.
So
There you go.
you know, we know it's going to affect music. It's going to affect the news. It's going to affect film. It's going to affect television. We don't, you know, how many television shows are going to start coming out?
Oh, yeah, it's
that
gonna
are
affect
serious?
politics.
Yeah. It's going to affect everything, politics, news.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have this whole talk about what's fake news and what's
Yeah.
conspiracy and what's that. Because you don't know half the time, what are you watching?
Yep.
Is it real or is it not real?
Hey, on my Instagram feed, they've got AI generated speeches by AOC. If you don't know who AOC is, she's a congresswoman in the States. And they basically, okay, in some areas, in some circles, she would be considered an airhead, possibly in these circles right here. So what happens is they create these AI generated snippets of her that sort of exacerbates her idiocy, right? And it's funny.
Yeah.
But then I tell you, some of the people on there don't know, and they start going, "Oh my God, she's an idiot." I'm like, it's not real. It's a comedy skit.
Wait, you're talking about this coming from the same country that voted Donald Trump in?
Well, that was possibly their smarter move.
All right. Okay.
Right, right.
All right. Okay.
But I mean,
Cool.
yeah,
Okay. All right. I digress.
want to have a discussion about that?
Well,
I digress.
No?
We're talking about that country. All right.
But don't you think, you know, so anybody that learns and knows how to do AI and does it well
Yeah.
can create their whole own news story. They can
Oh,
create
they
their
create
own
everything.
whole,
The whole thing structured
their
thing.
own whole world. You know,
Yeah.
they can create their own war story and say this is happening here and this is happening here and this is happening there. And it's, you know, there's so much that they could do. Now there is, and we talked about this before.
Right.
There's a lot of good, I think, to it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
but
yeah.
there's also the opposite side.
Yeah.
It's just like being, you know, we talked hackers on this show.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a lot of bad that can be done with AI. And you guys already said, if it's an AI music show, like if the
Yeah.
Rolling Stones decide when they're done, they're going to have the Rolling Stones as the AI, and you go and see them as
Yeah.
you know,
Not
holographic images
happening
on
for me.
stage.
I'm out.
You know, you're not going to go see it. What
Some
about,
people might.
yeah, some people probably will.
And then,
Okay, so the only difference is, and I knew you were going to just say Depeche Mode, so I have seen
I was
Depeche.
about to say it.
So I knew you were.
Bless you.
So thank you. So I'm getting better. It's clearing up. So I did go to the Space and Science Center,
yeah,
and I did see a laser light show with Depeche Mode music,
right.
and that is but it's not. It's not advertised as a concert. It's not advertised as
Well, you're not actually seeing the
avatars.
band per
You're
se.
not seeing the band.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not seeing the band. If you're going to tell me, you know, live Dave Gahan, Martin Gore, you know, it's not you know, in all of their wonderful avatar form. I'm out. I'm done. I mean, so hang on. Let me rephrase that. I would go. That's not true. I would go. I would not pay $150 a friggin' ticket.
No, you see, with me, it's
no
different
way.
though. It's not just $150. It's my bloody time.
Well, okay, but I love the music.
No, but I can listen to the music at home. And frankly,
wow.
if I put it on a good, if I go to my sister-in-law's house and put it on her B&W speakers and her system that my brother so lovingly specced out, I'm telling you something. I can get a kick-ass concert feel out of that.
Yeah.
Sitting with my sister-in-law and perhaps a couple of brewskis.
I can
Just
do
go
that.
through the YouTube rabbit hole. Just go down the YouTube rabbit hole. That's a hell of a concert.
No, what I'm saying is, though, the quality of the music and the music can be enjoyed without wasting X number of dollars and X number of hours of my time fighting traffic, paying parking, et cetera, to go someplace and not see a band.
And I can do that in my room downstairs.
You have a theater system.
With a surround system downstairs.
Exactly.
And I have concert DVDs and Blu-rays that I'll go down and sometimes you put them on and you just
And
watch.
stream-
You've got
and
the- you've
stream
got-
it and
you've got
you're
the whole-
fine.
The whole sound.
Right.
Now, if it was, if you know, Paul Simon, and I don't want to, he's still, you know, alive. and with
Yeah,
us,
yeah,
but if at some point he's gone and they put him out, would
I
you go- would you
still
go-
wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
He is my, okay, so anybody who doesn't know this, I can't imagine, Paul Simon is literally my absolute favorite artist of all time.
What would you call him
What do you mean?
in relationship to you? He is your
He is
dot.
he is my philosopher of choice. He's my musician of choice. He's my lyricist of choice. He's my creative person of choice. He is my advisor in many ways because of his lyrics. So I would call him in so many ways. If I was a musician, he would be my mentor. If I was an actor, he would be my writer, etc., etc., etc. So I don't know that's a great question, Paulie. It's a wonderful question. I don't know.
What is he to you?
I don't know. In so many ways, he is that, oh my God, I'm going to regret saying this, but in so many ways, he is that adult that I needed in my life that I never had.
Oh.
You know?
And when did you, so and I love this. How old were you when you found him? So
oh my God.
Give me a few minutes on this. How old were you when you found him?
13, 14.
And what was happening in your life when you found him?
A lot of bad things. My father passed away when I was 13. I lost my dad when I was 13.
Right.
And at 13, to those of you who have parents and have ripe to the old age that you are at, I don't mean that literally, but to those people who have aged to a certain level and have had their parents with them throughout that time, I don't necessarily know that you fully appreciate what it's like to not have them there. And I lost my dad at 13 years old.
Full on agree.
Right, and I lost my dad at 13 years old. I mean, I know people right now who are 66 and 75 years old who still have their parents, and they're not looking after their parents. Their parents are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And their parents are a support network for them still, and their grandchildren and their grandchildren.
Right.
It's a remarkable thing. So when you lose your dad, like I did at 13 years old, there is a gigantic, ginormous void in your life. And I was sent to boarding school, which was then I don't want to give away too much information here, but I was sent to boarding school, which was then, of course, a doubly interesting thing to happen to a child. And it was a military boarding school, so it's very strict, yada yada yada. So then when I discovered Paul Simon, all of a sudden, this was a sort of a safe harbor that I could
kind of
go
release
to.
where you could go to
Right.
and get away from everything. By
Right.
listening to
And then
Paul
when I came to Canada, that's when I really got a chance to listen to The Boxer, which is my favorite song.
That's
Because my cousin, Daryl, God bless him, he's in Winnipeg. Daryl introduced me. He played it, and I was like a spellbound child watching him play this on the guitar. And I said,
Yeah, you were somewhere else.
You have to teach me this, Daryl.
You were somewhere else.
And how did it start? I'm just a poor boy, but my story's seldom told. I've squandered my resistance for a bunch of promises, right? And that whole song, believe it or not, that song reflects a lot of who I am, and I think maybe that's why. So, Paulie, great question. We all have music or mentors or musical people that we love because based on perhaps the time that we heard them and how well we related to them, right? I'm sure you have the same story, Paulie.
5 million.
No?
Funny. Depeche Mode, my favorite band since 1989. Their Violator album released 1989. I'm 14 years old. So before 14 years old, before 1989, I'm into the pop. I'm into the the I want to be cool, handsome boys, New Kids, Debbie Gibson, Tiffany type thing. And then
Tiffany, I think we're alone now.
I think Tiffany and I have been alone now a couple of times when I was a kid. I'm just saying, thank you, Tiffany. By the way, thank you. So then I heard this song, just this song. I don't know. I heard it on the radio. I heard it on. I probably heard it on the radio in 1989. You couldn't hear it anywhere else.
Yeah.
I heard it on the radio, and something just clicked. Something just clicked. Something just clicked. Where all of that fluff that was pop, it changed, and it was "Enjoy the Silence" by Depeche Mode from their Violator album, which to this day is my masterpiece album. There is no album bigger than the Violator album to me. And then my love of my life when I was 19, she was 17. We were dating. That was our Somebody. The song "Somebody" was our song. She passed away in a car accident.
Oh.
But oddly enough, another Depeche Mode song called "Blasphemous Rumors" literally mimicked my girlfriend's life at the time. Literally mimicked the lyrics of my first love of my life's 17 years. Like it was eerie, mirror image. And if I may, not to get too far into this, in 2 weeks on the 28th, I have my next tattoo appointment. It is going to be a music staff of the song Somebody.
Nice.
All around.
Nice.
All around. And it's already booked, it's already paid for. I am jacked. And 2017, my first time seeing Depeche Mode live, local in Edmonton. They played Somebody, thank God. Waterworks.
Nice.
What you guys, music, man.
Music is that.
Just music. Just music.
Bill, what about you?
Probably the same thing. I like when I started getting into music way back. I was listening to everything that my dad would have, or that my uncles would have. I had another uncle who was big into music, and it was always funny because he had this house, and in the basement of his house he had it all dark with blacklit.
Nice.
And he had the big stereo,
And the big stereo speakers. Okay.
And he put on the album of the Beatles or
Did
Jimi
he
Hendrix.
have the belt posters in the back?
Yeah, he had it fully blacklit, and he put on Jimi Hendrix. And
Nice.
You'd hear, so I'd hear all of these, and then I started getting into, as I got early into late junior high and early into high school. Of course, we've talked about it. I first heard Rush, and I first heard 2112 for the first
2112.
time, and I couldn't believe putting it on the headphones.
2112.
and listening to all 21 minutes or whatever.
2112 is not an album. That is an experience. By the way, that's not an album. That's an experience.
That turned me on to them.
to
And
them.
that's,
Oh, what a group, man. What a
and
group.
it's funny, I just actually got Geddy Lee's memoir. I got the book.
I was just gonna ask
And
you.
so
I was just gonna ask
got
you.
it. I've only just started reading it, and I did watch a
My
really good.
effing life.
I just watched also a really good interview with Geddy, and something that's really interesting because they, as everybody knows, it's three guys. It's Alex, Geddy, and Neil Peart.
Yeah.
Now Neil wasn't the original drummer; he came on a little bit later.
yeah.
Correct.
But the funny thing is neither Geddy nor Neil Peart could read music.
That's right.
Alex a little bit, but not much. So Geddy said when they were starting, the hardest thing for them is they would go in and they would jam, and then they had to memorize everything that they jammed, and that's how they learned the song. That's how it became a song because they couldn't read music, they couldn't write the music down. Now, obviously, then Neil would write the lyrics, and they would that's how they learned the songs. They just memorized what they jammed.
You can read music. You can't read music. I cannot read music.
No,
I cannot read music.
I can't read music either.
So, and the reason why I ask is just a sidebar. This man can play the guitar, and I don't mean just half-heartedly. This man can play the guitar. He's proved it time and time and time again. You can't read music, hey?
No, okay, no.
Good on you.
No.
'Cause I can't read music either.
I do wish I could, because it would possibly aid in the enjoyment, and probably would have aided in writing, which I did some when I was young. Haven't done any.
Yeah.
But could have. I don't know why I never learned. Impatience. I don't know. Like I have no idea. I mean, and it was hard. And don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to diminish this there. But quite possibly I never learned because it's freaking difficult. I mean, I admire
Right?
people. You know what amazes me? People who get a brand new sheet of music and they sight read it on the piano, or like my wife. When she played French horn, she would sight read it while she's playing French
I
horn.
didn't know your wife was bilingual.
Yeah,
That's the Français horn for all
that's
of
right.
you bilinguals.
And the double French horn is one of the hardest brass instruments to play.
Right.
Right. And she'd get a piece of music fine. She never played it to Leonardo da Vinci perfection. But the fact of the matter is, she could sight read the notes. I'm like, how are you reading that? And you're bloody well playing the instrument, right? So don't get me wrong. Maybe I didn't learn it because it was bloody hard.
I think that's probably hard. And again, as I said, with Rush, they never did really learn to read music. He said the most technical was Alex. He was the most technical guy on his instruments. The rest they learned as they went. And, and like I said, they would jam for an hour, and if they really liked it, they'd go back and try and do that same jam again, playing what they just played until they could just do it right without having to think about it.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of my, getting home from high school, putting the headphones on, and then I belonged to the Record of the Month Club or whatever because I wanted to get.
Oh, Columbia Records, thank you.
I couldn't wait. I could not wait to get my 10 records coming.
I still owe you $35.
I would kind of select, but not always. And I'd get music. I'd have no idea until I ripped that plastic off, put the album on the turntable, and listen to it.
What's your boys?
Excuse me one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the time.
Oh wow.
Good evening and welcome to the middle of the podcast.
See, talk music, and there is no time is gone with me.
What happened to AI? Laura,
We're talking AI music.
Laura, you are slacking in your badgering of us. So Jerry says, oh, I can't really remember that, Jerry. That was a long time ago, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're kind of sidestep the AI topic, but we're kind of still there because the question is, Rush is gone. Neil Peart, rest in peace, Neil Peart, one of the best drummers on the planet, one of the most revered philosophers. Those who don't know Rush's music, he wrote all the lyrics, and if you listen to the Rush compendium of music, he is an absolute philosopher. And he's gone. So, would you go see Rush as a hologram?
I see, and I don't. Again, it would be hard for me because I have seen them live.
See, and I haven't.
few
I have
times.
not either. I've missed him every time.
So you wouldn't, I would.
Yeah,
It is my guess.
It
Bill.
wouldn't.
It's my guess.
It wouldn't feel the same to me. Like I haven't done this in quite a while, but you know, I've got a lot of their concerts again on Blu-ray and DVD, so I
Yeah.
can go and sit downstairs and I could put them on and watch them that way. But to go again and pay whatever you would have to pay to go see that,
Yeah.
I don't think it just wouldn't be the same. to
And,
me
and
as
all
soon
the
as
hassle.
live band is up there.
See okay, let me just lay this down here. In 1992, going back a lot of years, my favorite artist, Paul Simon, showed up with his 18-piece band, and
18 piece.
crazy. So anyway, he showed up here. So check this out. Speaking of Daryl, who mentioned that?
Jerry did.
Yeah, so Jerry has a comment that says that Cliff and Daryl used to play and sing a pretty mean boxer. That tells you how far back I go with the boxer. So anyway, 1999, Paul Simon's coming. He's my favorite dude. I bought 35 tickets, my own tab. I bought 35
Oh,
tickets.
I love this story.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
this story.
And I gave him away to people, those who could afford to pay me. I said, hey, if you can afford to pay me, but that's not the idea. The idea is I want to take you to this concert because this is my favorite guy and I don't think I'll ever see him again. It's a bucket list. So here's the deal. I drove to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan and picked up my cousin Daryl and drove back and brought him here for the concert. So
Right.
I'm all in here, right? On the way to the concert, my brother-in-law, Jerry, my wife's brother, it's -41, had a flat tire. We stopped and we changed it. And we got to the concert, and the concert, Paul, was the most amazing concert I've ever been to in my whole life, and I've been to a few good ones. But guess what? The payoff of all that effort was seeing Paul Simon live with his band.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine doing all of that, the payoff being a hologram.
A hologram.
I can't.
Yeah.
And hey, and last point, I just gotta tell you this. Last point. We're in the second row. Me and Daryl in the second row. And our favorite song is The Boxer. Daryl sings harmony. I sing
My
melody.
favorite song is The Boxer.
And Daryl sang all the beautiful Garfunkel harmonies. And taught me how to play the guitar. Anyway, we're in the second row with red scarves. And through the whole damn concert, every time we're waving the scarves and every time the song came to end, we go, The Boxer! And we're second row. We're second row, so he can hear us, right? The whole damn concert goes by. And guess what? The ever-present encore
Of course.
happens.
Because you need an encore.
Because I need an
by the way.
encore.
Because you need an encore, by the way.
And he comes on stage and he starts with that beautiful lick. And he looks right at us and he goes, I'm just a poor boy. And then turns back to the audience. It was like, hey, man, recognize, right? Recognize, all type of jazz. And it was totally awesome. You cannot get that from a hologram.
So, okay, so somebody, I really like Nicole. Nicole. I like Nicole's. Honestly, going to the Taylor Swift movie was way more economical than going to the actual concert.
Okay, I agree. That would be good.
Thousands, and she's right about that.
I get that regarding.
She's right
I
about
do get that
that.
regarding ticket prices.
I do.
I understand that. But on the flip side of it, to me, it's not the same. It's not obviously not the same experience.
But would you?
Because
Okay,
I can sit downstairs and do the same thing.
guys, it's not the same, but it's not promoted as the same thing. Would you go to an $18, Rush thing
No,
at a movie
because
theater?
it's what I just said, but the
it's never-
payoff is not the same.
Yeah, it's still
But
not
it's
the
never
same.
promoted as the same.
doesn't
It's
matter.
Not promoted as
But
the
the
same.
feel of it is not.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
So my
I
point
agree,
of telling
I
you that
agree.
brilliant Paul Simon story was because all of the thing that I went through and going all the way 8-hour drive to pick up my cousin and bring them back with me and all that type of jazz. The payoff was we got to sit in the second row, and at the very end of the conversation, he says, he basically, without saying it, said, "This is for you."
Okay, so here's the interesting part about this. The interesting part about this is Cliff said, I went to Saskatoon, pardon me, I got the city wrong, and I picked up. That's part of the story. That's part of the experience. That's part. I slept over for tickets. I slept over for tickets. There was a liquor store in the parking lot of the mall. That's part of the music story, and that is what I miss. That's what I miss.
Back in the days, lining up for the Rush tickets.
Right.
So you'd line up and get your wristband. You hope you get,
I was number 2 for Pink Floyd Division Bell tour.
Yeah.
You know, that's the story.
That's the story.
And I'll tell you something. That's what I'm going to pay $200 a ticket for.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to pay.
Correct.
I'm not going to pay $200 a ticket to see avatars. Thank you. No.
And
I
need to feel like when, again, being at a Rush concert, I need to feel the depth of Geddy's bass hitting your chest and Neil Peart doing his drum solo and your whole body's vibrating and you just feel it going through your whole body.
And let's face it,
the guitar solos of Alex.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's face it, I mean, there's something to be said, and I know this sounds very philosophical and all type of shit. That's me, though. There's something to be said about breathing the same air. I mean, keep in mind, what you are breathing out, somebody else is breathing in. Right? And actually, there is a connection, there is unmistakable, all right, when you go there. I mean, if any of you know who Heather Nova is, she's a brilliant, brilliant artist. She's one of my favorite artists. She talks about the Valley of Sound. It's a beautiful song.
Sorry, say that again.
It's called the Valley of Sound. No, Valley. The Valley of Sound.
Okay. All right.
It's on an album called Sirens, and it's by Heather Nova. She's brilliant. Yeah. So anyway, she talks about that experience, that very experience about the concert. And you're right. So I know it sounds philosophical, but the fact of the matter is you are exchanging breath with strangers, but strangers who are in the sync with you, strangers who are in the same mindset as you.
Simpatico, baby.
Simpatico completely, right? With you, and not only with you, but also the artists on the stage. I think there is something sacred about that. I mean, not to overstate it, but there is something sacred about seeing the artists who have shaped your thoughts and molded your thoughts and comforted you when you were sad and made you joyful and were part of the joyful times in your life.
Depeche Mode, Cliff, changed my life.
Maybe your wedding,
Depeche Mode changed my life.
There's something sacred about being in the same room with these people.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's like I said, I'd go home and I'd put the headphones on so you don't hear anything else except all you're hearing the music.
Correct.
I would go to a Rush concert and basically shut out the crowd
Right.
around me, and all I'm focused is completely
On the band.
hearing the
Bill,
music.
there's nobody there. There's not 12,000 people there.
Right.
There's you and the
I can hear the bass line. I can hear the Neil Peart, drum lines. I can
Drum
hear
lines,
Alex
exactly.
going into and I just focus completely. Not, I don't hear that there's 50 people in front of me that are screaming.
That
their
are
heads
yelling
off,
their heads off, right?
So
I don't think you can get that from an AI experience in my mind, but I could be
agree.
wrong.
yeah.
By the way, if I may, PSA, manual labor. I'm out of beer. We need more, please. Thank you.
Very good beer again from our sponsor,
Hey,
Manual Labor.
I am out of beer.
My wife's red is no longer hang on. My wife's red is no longer my wife's red. It's pretty damn good. So it's not my wife's husband's red.
This, by the way, is not AI. This is real.
This is not AI. This is real.
Yeah,
This is real.
This is real. So having said all of that, so let's look back at some film, for an example. So Tron, when it came out, was kind of
Sort of.
sort of. Matrix, kind of, sort of. But you could come into, as we're in today's age, make a film fully out of AI with fully AI actors and characters, and you probably would be hard pressed to even know that those aren't real people that are on the screen in front of you. Is that not a fear for those actors, and especially even the young actors coming up, that what's my chance now of going to 100 auditions and not getting the part because they decided they were going to make the film AI?
Well, you're an actor. You answer your own question. You're an actor. Answer your own question. How do you feel?
Well, I think for me, and I haven't done anything for quite a while, but I think it would be frustrating to go to 100 auditions and then say for a film, for example, to find out then that the producers have said, no, we're going to do this AI instead.
Yep.
Okay, can I ask you a question then?
Characters.
Let me ask you a question.
No, those characters need. Well, I should say. I'm sorry.
No,
but they say they don't even really need voiceovers because AI can create the voices as well.
They need
you don't
like
even need a voice.
Whoa!
They need-
Don't get me started.
They need 3 seconds of your voice.
That's basically all they need.
That's all they need.
3 seconds.
And so the whole thing, voiceover actors, everything goes down the drain.
3 seconds of your voice, and they can mimic it.
And sorry to interrupt. You were going to.
No, no problem. But I got. Let's try an alternate thought here. So you go for an audition. AI takes it. They don't want you. AI. How long before AI becomes, I don't know, what, some stupid AI? I want an actual real actor. And now you become a premium.
Well, I think at that point you've got to look at, is there going to be the studio out there? Is there going to be the producers? And whether it be independent film or whether it be a huge major studio, is there going to be somebody that's going to step up and say, I'm not doing AI?
No, I think the audience is going to demand it sooner or later. Let me tell you something. An 18-year-old, God bless 18-year-olds. I freaking love them. So this is not any kind of.
That's a little creepy. Go ahead.
No. This is not any kind of slight against young people. Young people are the most creative and wonderful people I know when it comes to and discerning when it comes to entertainment. So please don't take this as any kind of slur. But the fact of the matter is, an 18-year-old might find it interesting and cool and all that sort of stuff to see. But I tell you, when that same person turns 25, they might think to themselves, I'm sick of this AI shit. I actually want to see a great actor on stage.
Yeah.
Now, does that put the actor at a premium?
Well,
I see your point.
and you're right. So the generation now,
Right.
of the 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, whatever, and a lot of them are even going into, college, university to learn all digital,
Right.
etc. So for them, it almost becomes the norm. So a kid that's like 6 years old now, in 20 years, that's 26, that could be the norm for them. And going back and watching a movie with real actors in is like us going back and say, let's watch this movie from the 50s.
Right.
Because it's got real
Could
actors
be.
in
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Guys, it makes
You never
me
know,
sad.
right?
It makes me sad that my kids are not gonna. I'm not a movie guy. I'm gonna dive back to music. It makes me sad that my kids are not gonna have the concert experience that I've had, i.e., hanging out with your friends, sleeping over for tickets, like throwing your sleeping bag over your shoulder.
I miss
and
that.
it makes me sad for my kids. Yeah. They're gonna go boop 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 boop, and they're there.
I miss the whole social aspect of the lining up for tickets.
It's the social aspect, and that kind of makes me sad. I don't know,
I don't know, Paulie. The world changes quickly. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think their experiences are going to be any less diminished than ours.
Yeah.
They're going to be
Because
different.
they don't know any different.
No, they're going to be different. No. But let me tell you something though. In my mind, the experiences. I mean, come on. Let's face it. The malt shop in the 50s, with the kids going there, I don't think they were any more happy than currently the kids gathering at West Edmonton Mall.
Yeah, point taken. Yeah, point taken.
Yeah.
Right? I think every generation discovers their own connections and their own fun. And when I talk about fun, I'm talking about connecting with their friends, places to do it. Now, the experience might be different than ours, but I don't think necessarily it would be diminished.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, man, I really miss sleeping over for tickets. But then my dad is gonna say, but Paul, you should have been at the malt shops. But
Right.
Paul,
Right.
you ain't seen nothing yet because you should have been.
And
at the
you
malt
should have been at the
shops.
malt shops with all the beautiful classic cars
I'm feeling
coming
you.
up.
Yep. I'm feeling you.
And all the cafe racer motorcycles and all the cool guys with the cigarettes wrapped up in their t-shirts and all the beautiful girls wearing the ring. And the beautiful skirts and
I'm
all that
feeling
sort
you.
of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of that, I mean, sometimes I look at the 50s with nostalgia, and I wasn't even born then. There's a word for that called hireth, which means nostalgia for something that you've never actually been a part of.
Right.
And I don't know where that comes from. I think it comes from Gaelic. But nonetheless, I look at the 50s and it's very romanticized in my head. I think to myself, hey, the war was just recently over. There was a sense of liberation in the Western world. And there was a sense of a lot of things. And just imagine a young guy riding a nice cafe motorcycle and you put this beautiful girl on the back of the James Dean type thing, and you go for a ride. In my mind, then you end up at the mall shop, and then you go watch whatever, go see Elvis Presley coming out. I don't know. The fact of the matter is, all of that seems very cool to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And Laura says, she says, I think they might sleep over at a friend's house together or meet up at a coffee house waiting for tickets to be unlocked on Ticketmaster, then have the joy of picking the spot together. That's somewhat interesting.
Yeah,
Laura,
And that's what they know.
That's what they know, but it's not the same as lining up at the mall waiting for tickets with everybody, talking to everybody in the social aspect, talking to everybody in line and chatting and waiting for that wristband or whatever the case might be, right? So
yeah, that's funny. Speaking of wristband, we've mentioned that like 4 times now.
Yeah.
And in the same context as Paul Simon, he's got a great song called Wristband. If you ever want to try it out, my friend Olivia, I don't know why she's not on here, but she really should be. Olivia, I'm going to send you this recording so that you can see that I mentioned your name.
Quick, what's her phone number? I'll phone her.
She loved Wristband, and I went cruising with her, and I play her all these Paul Simon songs, and she can't stop listening to him afterwards.
Yeah.
And how old is Olivia? Olivia's probably 26. So she's a young person who loves Paul Simon, partly
Because she's a smart girl.
there we go, and partly because of me. Every time we go cruising, I play some Paul Simon songs. Nonetheless, Wristband is the name. Go check it out. It's a great
It's
song.
very interesting, and I remember sleeping over for tickets even before wristbands.
Yeah.
Even before wristbands. I mean, they brought the wristband idea in.
They brought in to try and
as
control.
I was sleeping over for tickets.
Yep.
To control, right?
Yeah.
To control, and smart idea, great idea, brilliant idea. But
So-
yeah, I was even sleeping over for tickets before, and oh man, what an experience!
So
It's unbelievable.
we don't have a lot of time left, but I was going to skip back to the news side of things.
Do it.
So, like, what do you think? Like, I could go out. I don't have the full technical knowledge. Now, I work in an industry, and I work with a company where we actually promote what's, for lack of better words, it's a hologram capsule.
Correct, I saw that.
We actually do have a capsule that we promote and sell, which you can have a speaker from anywhere in the world come and speak to you, and it looks like they're on stage.
Yep.
And so it is a full hologram capsule, like you said. You've seen it. We promoted it on our September tour again that we did. Really cool box for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's really quite awesome.
Yeah, and they have a different version of that as well, where you can have a big stage, and it looks like a car's driving on stage, was actually not there.
Well, it's actually not there.
So there's things that you can do like that. But on the news side of things, what is it going to do to, as I mentioned earlier, again, I do in quotations, the fake news, the conspiracy theories,
Conspiracy theories.
all this kind of stuff. Because now if anybody has knowledge on how to do AI and do it properly, I can create any type of news story that I want to create if I feel like I want to stir something up.
Right.
Or if I'm not happy or political. Or when that election comes along.
To further your agenda.
Okay, but can people see through it or not?
But if they don't know, what if they're not knowledgeable enough to know that what they're watching maybe isn't quite real?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
What if you're watching a politician do a speech, but it's actually not that
Yeah,
politician?
but that's not new though, Bill. I mean, China's been censoring news coming out of that country.
I'm not
since
talking
the
censoring.
70s.
I'm not talking censoring.
No, he's not talking about censorship. He's talking about creating.
I'm talking about creating. So
Sure, creating, also known as spinning.
I could take a politician, create a full AI, and put a speech out there that maybe they didn't really say, or as you said, take something they have said, recreate it and change it around a little bit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like,
So,
wow.
Paulie, what Bill is talking about is vastly different. We're talking about creating a narrative versus altering a narrative, right? And you can do both with AI.
You can.
You can do both, absolutely.
I mean, the fact of the matter though is, if I'm used to watching CNN, God forbid, I don't know why I do that, but if I'm used to watching CNN, and I watch, who's that fat bald guy on there? Can't think of his name.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
Anyway, if I'm used to
the guy
watch,
that died?
No, he got kicked off anyway.
Oh.
But if I'm used to watching him, and I'm to your point, Bill, and all of a sudden I go on a Monday night and I turn on this dude, and he's been replaced by an AI, and he's saying things that are, I don't know, potentially destructive in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily that I'd go, hey, wait a minute, is that dude or not?
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Like, if they replace that guy on the news stream telling me something totally different, I don't know that I would necessarily have the presence of mind. And you know me, I'm a pretty astute person when it comes to news.
A lot more research on the news side is going to have to happen, right? Because now you're going to be looking at other avenues.
Now you're going to have to look at that.
YouTube or whatever to see, okay, what he just say, is that actually true?
Is that true?
Are we hearing, is that fabricated? Is it
Right, but to your point, how many people are doing that right now?
Oh,
They're not a lot, right?
I'm not. Full
at this
disclosure,
point.
I'm not. Full disclosure.
I am so suspicious of the news, Paul, you don't even know.
Full disclosure, I'm not. I'm not. Now with that, my 11-year-old, my 11-year-olds, plural, and my 10-year-old, I'm telling them what, and I've told them this, Cliff. I said, guys, what you hear isn't necessarily true. Do some research. do
Now you have to give them the tools as to where to go and do the
100%,
research, right?
because they're 11 and 10.
Because if you search Google, you might end up getting the wrong news anyway.
You're going down the rabbit hole.
And we've talked a lot about this too, is mainstream news only gives you this much of a story, right? And part of it is because they only have that much time, but they want the most dramatic part of that story, so they'll pick the smallest part. So you don't really get the beginning, and you don't get what happened in the middle, and so
and they pick and choose
with AI.
Yeah,
it's tough, right? So am I researching now a whole bunch of different YouTube channels and trying to find out what I think is the reality of the story? Am I, what am I doing to find that out? And again, you're right. Not a lot of people are doing this right now. Maybe in 10 years, 5 years, 3 years.
So to your point, though, it's just going to get worse.
Yes.
But then news becomes obsolete because we automatically know that we have to do our own research because it might not necessarily be true.
No, but Podlie, I've had this discussion with so many people, and it's almost disheartening to know how many people don't do this. There are people that watch CBC exclusively.
Yes.
If you watch, I will tell you this, if you watch CBC exclusively, you are uninformed. If you watch Fox exclusively, you are uninformed.
Yeah.
If you watch Fox and you watch CBC and you watch Global and you listen to, I don't know, pick a right-wing thing.
Rebel News,
and you listen to all these things, I'm telling you, I said this to some friends of mine, and I hope this makes sense to you. If you boil and boil and boil a bunch of bullshit, sooner or later, the truth will actually simmer to the top. So the fact of the matter is, those who only watch CBC and those who only watch Fox, these people are literally clued out. You have to take in the entire gamut and then let your brain simmer, and slowly you will understand, because we are smart people, slowly you will come to the conclusion of what is probably right. All right? And I think the same can be said for AI. Once we start getting a feel for it, we might be duped on a constant basis to begin with. But once we start actually truly engaging with the AI, if that's possible, I think we will become more discerning as time moves on, because we'll become more educated, and more education leads to more discernment. More discernment leads to better decision making. Better decision making leads to better decisions as to what we're going to consume as far as news goes.
Be able to draw out what's reality and
what's reality and what's not.
Yeah.
So I obviously that's wishful thinking, but I'm hoping that we humans have the smarts to get there if we choose. The problem is a lot of humans choose not to. A lot of humans decide that they only want to watch CBC. A lot of humans decide that they only want to watch Fox. Right? Because they prefer the confirmation bias versus actually making themselves uncomfortable to see the whole picture.
Really, the simplistic way of putting it is today's day and age, you have to be completely open-minded and look at everything.
Bill, 100%.
In order to get a clear picture of what you're looking at.
100%. And you have to be able to, not be triggered by something that you don't disagree with.
So what you have to stop is you have to stop with your tank completely empty. That's what you have to do. Start with your tank completely empty. Fill it up, but fill it up at different gas stations.
Right.
Fill it up at different gas stations. Okay.
It's a lot of driving, but yeah.
It's a lot of but that's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. It's a lot of driving, but it's going to get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Oh, look what I just did.
Jerry just says that. Yeah, that was kind of neat. That
analogy there.
Jerry, which is JTN Creations, Jerry Roberts says too many mainstream news media has developed a tabloid behavior.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know what, Jerry, it's truth, because the reason is that they're competing with tabloids, and the fact of the matter is, in order to keep their monetary levels up and viewership up, they have to actually use clickbait and shit like that. Excuse my language. So, as much as I blame them, I also commiserate with them, because they're in the business of actually making money as well. I mean, they have to pay their employees. So if the clickbait people are stealing their views, then I don't know that they have much choice. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not saying I know what the answer is, but I am saying that those of us who consume media are in definite jeopardy of being programmed and propagandized against their will, and we need to be able to be vigilant about that.
Just hone in on that one word, programmed. Programmed. I lived in China for 3.5 years, guys. To them, Tiananmen Square never happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tiananmen Square never happened.
Oh yeah.
It never happened. Programmed. Just think about that.
100%.
You talk tabloids. Look at that. The show TMZ. It's been on the show. It's
TMZ,
been on the air for
TMZ.
how many years now? Because people continue to support it. They continue to watch, and they continue to believe everything. That
Meanwhile,
they see on
what?
there.
90% of it is pure bunk.
Yeah.
And sorry, 90%, that makes no sense.
It's taking
so
the
much of
tiniest-
it.
The tiniest little thing.
Generous when you say 90.
Yeah, it's taking the tiniest little thing. Oh, so and so set their can down on that. Do you know why they set their can down? And it becomes a huge thing.
Yeah,
like, who
TMZ.
cares,
Oh my
right?
God, one of the
it's
worst
things. Like, but it's still there. And Harvey Levin or whatever, who's a lawyer, that runs the stupid thing. And they yeah.
And that's that other guy, Zent, whatever the hell his name is. Oh my God, what a loudmouth. Like the guy is, I mean, just spew hatred. They just constantly spew hatred.
Of course.
It's like, dude, chill out. Let's talk news. Let's actually have a discussion here.
What I want to know is, how do these guys learn so much about everybody's life, about what they're doing during the day, and how they're doing what? Like, if I'm sitting in my living room, or like, how do they know?
I don't know how they do it.
They make up these huge stories. Oh, he was sitting on the couch, and he was watching this show.
I don't know how they do it.
Well, how do you know I was watching that show?
I don't know how they do it.
So
honestly.
if I may, another PSA, gentlemen, if I may. Manual labor, we love you. We love you. Manual labor, this was delish. But I'm just saying, we love.
A little bit of rocket surgery here, and
We're 3 dudes with 4 beer, man. I'm just saying. We're 3 dudes with 4 beer. I'm just saying. All right, the math doesn't compute, but we love it. It's amazing. Mine is empty. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
big thank you again to Manual Labor.
Yes, awesome. Thank you
for becoming our first ever sponsor. And make sure again that you do. I'm just going to bring it up here. Check out their website, manual-labor.ca. They do have events, and if you get a chance, get down and visit them and taste some of their beer and play some free pinball. Why not?
There we go. Pinball machines are good. So Laura says it's the minute mark, and then she says, not that I want to stop the topic.
4-minute mark, I think.
Yeah, then she says, not that I want to stop the topic because I love this. Laura, thank you. That's awesome. So while we're on there, let me tell you my little shtick that I normally do. We, and I speak for all 3 of us when I say we really appreciate you guys showing up here, the engagement, the laughter, the fun, the banter, and I know sometimes the banter is between you all because we're too busy yapping. But I have to tell you, we do read the comments as they go by. We really appreciate you being here. If you like the show, please share it. If you don't like it, well, share it anyway, will you? And because we're trying to grow it this coming year. 2025 is going to be the year of the Podlie podcast. No, 2025 is going to be the year of the Podlie podcast. 2024. No, 2024 is going to be the year of the podcast. Okay, I'm lost.
What the hell are y'all doing?
Was that just fake news?
That was fake news.
What the hell?
So anyway, 2024. Sorry, I'm in. Long story. Anyway, thank you for being here. 2024 is the year of the Podlie podcast. We'd appreciate it if you shared. Appreciate if you come back. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate that. And if you happen to miss it,
you can tune in soundsugarradio.com on Friday nights, 10 p.m. just for the audio portion, or come back to our YouTube channel and re-watch it here. You can watch it with all of the comments. And as Cliff said, we really appreciate everybody commenting. And again, we can't get to every single comment.
but we read them all.
We read them all as they're going, but we don't always talk about them on the show because we just don't have time to do that, or we're busy yakking. But we do read them as they go by.
I like what Laura says.
Laura says, never stop the yapping, but if we move to a Tuesday night, might be an idea. She's busy on Monday.
We were just talking about that earlier, too. We were just talking about that earlier.
Jerry says, thanks, guys. It's been a blast with you, Jerry. Let us know what your show is, because we'll promote your show as well.
Jerry, we're on with you, brother. Let us know.
Yeah, for sure. So, again, next week, hour 165. So I thought next week will be our Christmas show because it's that time. It'll be the last one before Christmas. So we'll do our Podlie Christmas show next year. And again, as Cliff has mentioned, if you have a topic that you think we should discuss, serious or otherwise, bring it up so we can talk to it. Go to our Facebook page and give us an idea.
Laura says, love Manual Labor for the sponsor. And we love Manual Labor for the sponsor too. But for you guys out there, love them with your bucks. Love them with your bucks.
People love beer, so hey, buy your friend a 6-pack.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to a whole bunch to Christmas parties, buy a 6-pack, maybe manual labor, because I got to be honest with you, this was very, very good. This was very, very good.
You guys,
Okay.
stay happy.
All right, everybody. See you all next week. Have a good one.